Thanks for checking out Cars, Shops, and Collections. I'm super excited because we're in Las Vegas. We're gonna go see a Vegas headliner, Murray the Magician.
Do you like magic? Yes. Excellent. It's gone.
And he headlines over at the Tropicana. He sent me a message. He says, come check out my collection. He's got like 3 cars. He's going to get his 4th car. And we're on his street right now, and I can tell his house from a mile away because look at this Pontiac right here. He told me he's got a Pontiac Grand Prix, 69 right there for us to check out. And look at this C3 1973 Corvette, beautiful Stingray. And there's his Nissan Hardbody. And then he's getting a 4th car for us. This is gonna be a good night. Here's our 4th. My man!
Sorry about that.
Dude!
I got the car just back inside.
You gotta get one more for us.
How you doing, man?
Good to see you, brother.
It's been a minute.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful collection.
It's not bad. They're not all clean, but you know, it's what it is. Don't sit too close, right?
No, they're gorgeous, man.
Hey, I'm Murray SawChuck. I'm a magician headliner here in Las Vegas. I absolutely love cars. The older the car, the better. I have a few cars of my own, and that's why we're hanging out.
Let's start here with your 1973 Corvette, your Stingray. Give me the backstory on this. When did you get it?
I got this about 10 years ago, and I was only driving my red truck. That's all I had. I just had the red truck, which you'll see in a minute. And it was my first car ever I had as a kid, as a teenager. And all my friends were like, you need a cool car to show up into these events. I'm like, I'm not that kind of person. Like, I drive what I like, and I'm not that person. So yeah, but you're an entertainer. Have something. What would you drive if you could just, you know, come on now. It's not just your truck. It's, I'd probably get a Stingray, or I love the 37 Fords, like the 3 or 5 window. I love stuff like that. And I was looking on eBay, and I got this car originally from an old guy named Raymond in Greenville, Tennessee for $10,000.
Dang!
I put $28,000 into it plus. So, but I got it and it ran, and that's, you know, and the paint job was nice. It was originally green and tan. That was the original color. Everything else is original. The engine numbers matched and everything, but he didn't like the color, so we had it all painted, all the interior changed to black, which I kind of like, because the green and tan wasn't my vibe either. And so I got it off him, I got it shipped here, and I've owned it ever since. So
it's beautiful. Let's walk around. I love the stance on it. I love the beefier tires that you have on the thing right now.
Yeah, and the cool thing with this car is the reason I like it as well. First of all, it's the year I was born, but second of all, it's the last year they ever had chrome in the car. So if you notice, the front of the car doesn't have chrome. The back of the car does have chrome.
Because this was a safety thing, right?
That's right. They had to, and I know I could be a little wrong in this, but they needed 5 inches from the nose of the car to the light as a protector and not being metal. So if you look at this, the lights come up obviously, and that's 5 inches. So in 72, you'll notice the giveaway is that it has chrome in the front, and this would be actually chrome in the back. So they made that law, and then after. In 74, they were like, wait a minute. Well, if we made the law for the front, it's got to happen in the back. So in 74, you'll notice that's when they did the slant back on the Vettes and the window. And that's why they took off the metal bumper on the back. So see how the back window goes straight down?
Yes.
But they had the angled window, and then they also had the angled back. So they had a straight back, whereas they had the angled. So that's how you can tell the cars.
73 right away. You could.
Yeah, 73 exactly. And then a 74 is the angled back, and 74 to 81 was that. Still C3, but it was that style of car.
Can we see inside it?
Of course, yeah. Have a seat.
That's good. Wow.
So it's somewhat clean. I try to keep them somewhat clean.
Is that the original radio in there too?
No, that is not. I do have the original radio. It's actually in a box right over there and on my shelf. But I still wanted, because I like to drive this often. Yeah. And I decided I wanted to be able to hook up my iPod and stuff. So that's a vintage radio. That's identical, but it can play, you know, your iPod or, you know, anything else you want.
Now this, you got, is there power windows in this?
Yeah, power windows in the middle. And, you know, that was a big deal back in the 70s.
Yeah, 73 to have power windows, you have AC as well?
Yes. And it has a cool thing in the steering wheel. I just learned this. Let me show you. I'm gonna sit in. Can you believe I've had this car for what, over 10 years? So we always have a tilt, right? So that every car has that. And back in the old days, tilt wasn't as off, because my Grand Prix does not have the tilt, 69. But the cool thing is, if you turn this thing here, it's a telescoping thing. So you can actually move the steering wheel up and down. So you can tilt here, and then the steering wheel moves in and out to get closer.
You can bring it out.
How cool is that?
That's modern luxury in a 1973
cool?
Corvette.
Yeah, and I just learned that because somebody said in my car, said, have you ever used a telescope? I said, what telescope? I don't have a telescope ever. I said, no, in your car, the steering wheel. I said, it doesn't telescope, it moves up and down. I know what I'm doing. He said, no, turn this thing. I said, you ever wonder what this was? I'm like, No, I thought it was just a feature for babies, so I don't turn the wheel too far. So, no, here, turn this, and the thing goes up. And if you push it too far, it obviously honks the horn. But isn't that interesting?
That's a trip.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Are high beams on the floor on this?
Yeah, on the bottom left, you push that there and take that off. You know what I mean?
There's something too I love about just the simplicity of the gauges up front here. As
yes, and I like that tack. And also one thing I like about these cars as well, nowadays, you know, any new car, I'm not really a fan of, but your oil gauge, your battery, and your water temperature, if you know how to read gauges, and it doesn't take much, this tells you a lot before you run into trouble. Because nowadays with cars, your little signal light goes on.
Yep.
And you might as well just go to the garage and it's another 1,000 because you're too low on oil.
You're at the
not
point,
enough.
yes.
But here you can see your oil pressure's not so good, so you can add a quart. And these cars, you're always adding oil because that's just what they do, well, even when they're in perfect condition. So usually if every one of these dials is straight up, it's a good day. You know what I mean? Besides your clock, because that's a different story, or your gas gauge, but these three are really important. So I miss that. Like my car, the Dodge, it doesn't have that.
I've got my Challenger as well. I got a warning a couple months ago saying oil like 10% left. I'm like, 10% left? How do you get to 10%?
How do you even get around the block, right?
Yeah. Panic mode. And then last one here in the interior, I love the specs right here. This is so cool.
Isn't that great? Down there. Yeah, it has the 350, 270 pound torque, and then 851.
Well, let's look on the hood real fast.
Sure,
and then pop over the Grand Prix.
You want me to turn a car over at all?
Yeah, Was that the first year lights popping up?
I don't know, because you know the Cougars had that as well. The Cougars had that, and then some of the Lincolns had that as well, where they popped up. You know, the old Lincolns. And I think it was definitely in that area, but I think there might have been a couple of cars in the 60s. But it was definitely a cool feature. You know, even to this day, they're cool.
It's a great sound.
Isn't that great? You can't beat that, right? Yeah, we'll open the engine.
It sounds so good.
And I just love the smell of it too, you know what I mean?
Yep. That is so iconic.
You have a Challenger too, I just noticed that. Yeah.
Numbers matching?
Yes, numbers match. I just found that out about a month ago that the numbers actually match, which means everything to a collector. Because the colors, you can put the colors back if you want. But the engine, once you lose that.
Yeah, that's the key part right there.
Yeah. I had a few of the chrome bits. I mean, that's not original. This isn't because I wanted to add the chrome, you know.
But it sounds, I mean, you got the muscly sound, but it's a smooth sound to it. There's no hiccups in your engine.
Yeah, and I just had this redone, so if it was about 3 months ago, you would have heard it coughing a little bit.
We kind of want that too. You want it to cough.
Yeah.
You know?
And I want to smell the gas, you know what I mean?
Get up in there. That's great.
Yeah.
Let's check out the Pontiac. This is muscle.
Isn't this great?
This is luxury. This is just, it's a boat. There's so much I love about the 69 Pontiac.
So this car, I was brought home from the hospital in. So this is my father's car originally. He's been gone for about 7 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, and in 73, I was born, and that's when I came home from the hospital. But he bought this in 1971 at an auction. And it was this is a 969.
Yeah.
So he bought this. Yeah. So this is the car I actually got taken home in the hospital from. So.
And this you're from Canada. Did you buy this from Canada?
This is from Canada, and you'll notice inside it has kilometers and miles on the dial, and which confuses a lot of people. So.
The door handles too, how they're kind of flush to the side of the body. That was a trip back in 1969. See, watch. Ready? Boop. Boop.
Isn't that cool? It's
so
all
this
original.
has been a part of your entire life.
Entire life. From the day I was born, I've lived in this car. I learned how to drive in this car when I was 15 years old, down an old dirt road, you know, picking huckleberries and all that stuff you see in movies. We actually did that because we had a ranch. And I'd push up in the now this steering wheel doesn't have tilt or nothing because it has an AM radio. Everything's original in this car. There's nothing that has been modified in this car at all, just because we wanted to keep it as pure as it was, you know?
I mean, this is your family history, right?
Yeah, isn't it great?
This has been a part of your entire life's journey from
Isn't that crazy?
Kid hanging out in the ranch to, you know, one of the world's top magicians.
Yep.
And also this too, the Commander style dash on this. I love how everything is angled to you. Like I'm out of the loop as a passenger here. Everything is angled towards you.
And you realize this is the first car, the first year they ever did this. They made it the console, which is the cockpit console.
Yeah.
For drivers. Before it used to be like the Corvette or most cars, just straight across. And so they curved it this way. So it was this. So it became that the GTO was a sports car, but this was they're trying to do that half sports car, half luxury. So by doing that, they had a few more little things added like this. The other model, the Model JS, like had power windows had a few other things. This is also the first car that ever had the antenna in the windshield. This is the antenna's right there, so there's two wires.
I see it right there, yeah.
That's the antenna. So the cockpit style and also the antenna in the windshield was one of the first cars to do.
That's a trip. And which, right now too with the C8,
yes.
the modern Corvette, it's like this dash style too. It's the cockpit, everything faces the driver.
That's right, yes, exactly. And compared to the old ones. They had the old ashtray in the middle, which used to be the biggest thing in the car. How funny is that
it's
now,
huge,
right?
yeah.
In the back, they have the little ashtrays that flip up, you know, that go back and forth. You know, if you have those, you can see those, it's kind of cool.
And I mean, the hood, it's like the Love Boat.
Huge. And the thing is, this car runs the best out of all the cars I have.
Can we take this one for a spin?
Sure, we can take this
All right,
one.
let's do it. Let's take this one for a ride.
And this is actually, it sounds, I mean, even the way this rides, this is the oldest car I have, and it just rides like a dream. Like it's smooth, even the engine runs, you know, and it's got a lot of power. I mean, you step on it and it really moves, you know, it picks up still. Not like the cars of today, like the Teslas and that, because they have obviously different engineering. But they have the old passing gear, so if you jam the pedal to the floor, it would hit passing gear, which is basically back to, you know, first gear, and it picks up the whole car and goes on. So
You notice, is that an 8-track player down there?
that is an 8-track, and look at it. I got the 8-track. I got a whole 8-track system in the back. This one happens to be Engelbert Humperdinck,
Classic.
The Last Waltz. How do you like that?
If
right?
you're gonna be rolling around a 1969
Right.
Pontiac Grand Prix, I want.
And then I got Elvis Presley, Christmas album. Isn't that great?
Do you drive this to your shows at night?
Sure, yeah. I'll take different cars overnight. And I'd say before June hits and between September, the Corvette and this car I drive maybe once a month because it's too hot. The Corvette does have air conditioning, but even with it running, it's still pretty warm. This one doesn't. The air conditioning is 60 miles an hour, windows down.
You grew up in this car. As you're driving this, what kind of memories go back? You and your dad hanging out in the car?
Everything. You know, before he passed, you know, because as parents get older, I always tell people this, as your parents get older, if you still have them around, when you go home next time for Christmas or when they come visit you, videotape them and ask them questions. It may be a pain in the neck for you to do at the moment, but I'm telling you, when they're not here, it's gonna be something you wish you did. So when I went home years ago, 7, 8 years ago, my dad wanted me to give me the car. He said, well, I'm gonna ship it down to you because he wanted to really make sure I got the car. And I said, Dad, I want to give it to you. I'm done driving with it. And so I said, all right, ship the thing down. Let's get this done, and I'll find a place to put it. And I said, well, I want to fly out there one more time, and I want you to drive me up north in Vancouver, because he worked in the railway all his life. So I said, I want you to go back to the railway stations that used to work in where my grandparents lived on the tracks. And I said, let's go for a drive. It's like a 4.5, 5-hour drive. It's kind of like driving from here to Reno. But you're in the mountains in British Columbia, and so I videotaped the whole trip with him. Because I knew one day it wouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
Because it's life. I just deal with things that way. And so I have a really cool video of him sitting here driving with his train hat on. And we're stopping the old different stations, and a lot of those old stations are just dust boards now because they're just not operational.
Yeah.
So it's fun to kind of hear the old stories, take the car up there, and of course, and then this type of car too, anything that went wrong with it, my dad knew exactly what it was. Oh, that's a solenoid. Oh, it's a spark plug number 3, because he worked on his car all the time. He would never take it to a mechanic usually, unless it needed an overhaul or something, you know what I mean? But yeah, a lot of great memories. It's kind of cool.
That's a treat to have. That
yeah,
really
right?
is. That really is a special
Yeah,
treat
and
to
when we
have
have kids, me and Danny, I'll pass it on to one of my kids, whether they want it or not, you know, and it'll, you know, go on from there.
Yeah, the legacy of the car lives on.
Yeah, and like I said, this doesn't have air conditioning, so they have these pull.
The vents, I noticed the vents. I remember that.
For the bottom
you and I are
vent
the
and
same age. I
That's
remember
right, yeah,
as a
exactly,
kid,
right,
the vents and stuff to get
That's
the
right,
airflow.
Exactly, and comes
totally
flowing
remember
by.
this, yeah.
Yeah.
My parents'
You can
Caprice
adjust
Classic station wagon.
Yeah,
I totally remember.
Yeah.
That's great.
Now another thing of this car I like, when people get in, they go to grab for the seatbelt. Well, there's one seatbelt here, right, that goes across, which is kind of cool.
Yep, lap belt.
Yeah, which is a lap belt, which actually we should put on. And then they have these ones, which are the straps. So they come out, and there's a second belt that goes across, and there's another clip, which is probably under the seat now, and it goes across here. So this is your chest belt.
Your shoulder
So in
harness.
these cars, they didn't have the one pull which you have now.
Yeah.
Which is, thank God they invented that, because just getting, you know, in here, you feel like you're going to space, you know. So
Looping it back up.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I never use that one because obviously it's a pain in the neck to put up. But
We were talking to your wife beforehand. She said she loves being a passenger in this one, but she loves driving the Corvette.
yes, yeah. Well, with her in a Corvette, you know, any pretty girl in a Corvette, you can't.
It's a win-win, right?
You can't lose, right? But this one, yeah, she loves the car, and it's comfortable, and it rides nice, and it's easy to get in. Like when you get in and out of this car, you're at the same level. But in the Corvette, like it's like you're kissing your knees. I mean,
down.
I don't care how good a shape you are, it's still.
Yeah, how's the room back there, Lance? Plenty of space?
Right?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
last of your collection, 1991 Nissan Hardbody.
Yes.
Where'd you get it?
I got this in Canada, because I'm from Vancouver, Canada. This was one of my first cars I ever had as a kid. I bought this when I was 18 years old.
This is actually yours.
This is mine. Yep, I've owned this for over 30 years.
You don't get rid of cars.
I don't.
I
don't. Yeah, I don't get rid of cars. Yeah, ex-wives I do, but not cars. And yeah, it's original. Everything's original on it. I've changed, I've modified from the day I bought it. I bought this as a base model. I bought this for $9,000 Canadian at a Cadillac dealership. No. Because of the trade-in, and who's going to go to a Cadillac dealership? Yeah. For a Nissan. My dad was with me, and because he loved cars like you and I do, and I wanted a '69 Camaro, right? That's what I wanted to buy, or a '64, a '63 Mustang. My dad's like, well, you're a magician. You got these props. How are you going to go to a show in a Camaro? And I'm like, yeah, but well, you only have one car, so you need something. I mean, how are you going to fit? I said, you should use a truck. I'm like, I don't want to get a truck. I said, well, you want to do this magic thing, and you're doing pretty good at it, so you got all these big props. How are you going to? I said, well, this truck here, it's $9,000. It was base, no cab, normal wheels, no chrome. It's the whole darn thing. It was just black and red and just normal. It was like a normal Nissan. No power steering, stick shift. So I painted this dash in this must have been 18. So this has been 1992.
92?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is very 92.
Yeah. So I took the thing off, and I didn't know how to do it, but I took black spray paint, and then I got some other red paint, and I went back and forth in newspaper. Yeah. And I shellacked it, and I put it back up, and I've never changed this at all. It's still nice.
It looks good. It's back in style, I think.
I know that, buddy. Yeah.
You go from the Magic, starting off with this, to now rolling up to your shows at the Tropicana.
Yeah, exactly.
You've done so well for yourself. I'm so proud of you, man.
I try.
And again, thank you so much for showing us the collection.
Thank you for hanging out, man. I love it. I'm so glad you came by, and you're always a guest. So.
Thank you.
Yes.
You heard that. I'm always a guest.
Always a guest. Take a car out.
All right, I'll do that. Thanks,
there it is.
Appreciate it, brother.
See you later, mate.
If you want your car, shop, or collection featured on the show, then shoot us an email at carshopsandcollections@gmail.com. That's carshopsandcollections@gmail.com. And thanks for watching, and be sure and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes of Cars, Shops, and Collections.